The wedding at Cana, John 2. I'd like to explain this passage. This is a rather difficult passage in the Bible. It tells the story of the miracle where Jesus turned water into wine. While that's the story, I'm not entirely sure if such an event actually took place. But judging by the content of this passage, it seems likely that it refers to a spiritual event in the spiritual realm, a prophecy of the future. Verse 1. On the third day there was a wedding in Cana of Galilee, and Jesus' mother was there. Verse 2. Jesus and his disciples were also invited to the wedding. This is the meaning of the word Galilee. I would like to analyze the meaning of the word shown on the right. The wedding at Cana, the third day, Galilee, Jesus' mother, woman, my hour has not yet come, the servants. I would like to analyze the meaning of these words. Since the wedding at Cana is referred to as the wedding at Cana in Galilee, Gari means skin and bones, Ra means naked, and Ya means God. Therefore, a spiritual body that has been cleansed of impurities does not simply return to God the Father, returning to please God, having cleansed away impurities to become a pure soul, and returning to God the Father. That is how we repay His grace. To be born as a human, purify one's soul, and return to God the Father. This is how we repay God the Father's grace and serve Him. On the third day, there was a wedding in Cana of Galilee. The third day here does not refer to a specific time. The third day here refers to the state of the Spirit, the serpent and lamb spirits of the sanctuary, having ascended to God the Father. As everyone rejoices at the feast, they are rejoicing because they are uniting with God the Father, and their souls are becoming one. That is why it is described as a wedding, and Jesus' mother was there. Verse 3, when the wine ran out, his mother said to Jesus, they have no more wine. Wine refers to those who believe in God the Father. Verse 4, Jesus said to her, Woman, what does this have to do with you? My hour has not yet come, since it is 1,000 years from now. This mother of Jesus is not the Virgin Mary. He calls her woman and says, I have no connection with you. Initially, Jesus is refusing to provide the wine. Therefore, this mother of Jesus is not the Virgin Mary. So, if we're talking about a mother, it must mean a stepmother. Therefore, my spirit body after I die will eventually become one with Jesus, 1,000 years from now. In that sense, since I gave birth to that spirit body, the Ⅸ spirit body be, I become Jesus' stepmother. Theoretically, that is why he refers to me, the woman Makoto spirit body A, as my wife. Also, there's a discussion about how Jesus and I, the lamb Makoto spirit be, are not directly related at this time. Jesus said, my time has not yet come. This battle with Gog and Magog will occur again 1,000 years from now. There will be two battles, one in the current end times and another 1,000 years later. Jesus will ultimately return to the Father 1,000 years from now. At that time, he must take all the souls on earth, take their lives, reduce them to a state of pure spirit, and return their souls to the heavenly realm. Since that will happen 1,000 years from now, he is saying, not yet. Verse 5, the mother, the female spirit body of Makoto A, said to the servants, whatever this one Jesus tells you to do, do it. By servants, I mean the angels. They perform acts such as blowing the 7 bowls, the 7 trumpets, and the winds to collect the souls of humans on earth. She is asking them to do this exactly as Jesus instructs. This is so that the souls of everyone on earth may be taken up to heaven. Verse 6, there were 6 stone basins there, each holding 4 or 5 measures, in accordance with the Jewish custom of purification. There is a Jewish custom of purification. After death, and while sleeping, the Jews return to the 4 cherubim. The souls of the Israelites return to report on earthly matters. That is what it is saying. It says stone water jars. But here, the stone represents human consciousness, the will, and the water in the jars. The souls return to the cherubim, so that the Jews can report everything that happened and everything they saw on earth. Therefore, in this tribulation, it is not the Hebrews, but primarily the descendants of the daughter. Christians are not Hebrews, nor are they Jews, so their spirits are returned to heaven. And the descendants of the woman, the Christians, do not return to report on what happened on earth, but to ascend to heaven and live eternally. Since they are not returning to observe and report on earthly matters, it is said that they do not see. Mizu equals don't see. The meaning of the Hebrew word mizu is not water, but rather not see, don't see, or don't watch. Therefore, they do not return to the spirit world to report. They return even without seeing what happens on earth. This corresponds to the description in Revelation of a great multitude that no one could count, clothed in white robes, holding palm branches in their hands. The people who have ascended to heaven. In the case of the Jews, they report on what happened on earth in place of God the Father's eyes, which is why they use a jar. Since it's a substitute for the eyes, the jar equals a temporary eye. Verse 7, Jesus told them to fill the jars with water, the Holy Spirit. They filled them to brim. This refers to what is stated in Revelation, that during the tribulation, Jesus will judge the people of the earth and perform the act of raising everyone up, taking them to heaven. Therefore, through the 7 bowls and the 7 trumpets, he uses angels to collect the Spirit. Verse 8, so he said to them, Go, draw some and take it to the master of the banquet. So they took it. The master of the banquet was the head of the angels. I believe he was an archangel. Verse 9, the master of the banquet tasted the water that had been turned into wine, but he did not know where it came from. The servants who had drawn the water knew. Since they were servants, they took the lives of people on earth, and their souls ascended. The fact that it was wine instead of water signifies the shedding of the blood of living humans. That is why the book of Revelation mentions the 7 trumpets, the 7 bowls, and the 4 horsemen. When this is done under Jesus' instruction, verse 10, everyone usually serves the good wine first, and then the bad wine once the guests are drunk. But you have kept the good wine until now. This is for the bridegroom. For my spiritual body after my death, the Lamb's spiritual body be. Jesus makes the wine. Wine refers to those who follow the immovable Lord by having faith in God the Father, and the guiding lady who are called to heaven by the Holy Spirit. This is the portion that Jesus has not used until now, the portion of souls he has not taken from people until now. For 2,000 years, Jesus has ruled the earth. He has not taken many human souls or lives until now, allowing humans to do as they pleased. However, the fact that he has collected fine wine after 2,000 years means that just before the 2,000 years were up, he collected a massive number of souls. Verse 11, Jesus performed his first sign at Cana in Galilee, revealing his glory, and his disciples believed in him. Therefore, Jesus' glory refers to the rapture. It means that the Lord takes the lives of Christians and reclaims their souls to heaven. The blood was shed, and as a result, the Holy Spirit filled 6 jars with wine. That is what this signifies. Verse 12, after this, Jesus went down to Capernaum with his mother, brothers, and disciples, and stayed there for a few days. This is Capernaum, the fulfillment of giving birth. This means the birth of human spirits and their ascension to heaven has been fulfilled. To clarify, human history as we know it was supposed to end 2,000 years after Jesus' first coming. However, by appointing a new intermediary and presenting them to God the Father, and by retrieving the spirits of a certain number of people, having done all this, we have secured approval for a 1,000-year extension. Therefore, under the new intermediary, the material earthly world as it is now will be preserved, and we will perform the rituals. I gave an explanation of the wedding at Cana, but the content was quite difficult. I think it would be hard to just take this at face value. So, I have some supplementary explanatory materials, which I'll introduce here. So, it seems Nostradamus was a descendant of both the former royal family of Judah, the people Jesus healed, and the tribe of Issachar. Centuries, Book 10, Quatrain 72, July 1999. A great king of terror will come from the sky, reviving the great king of Anglemore, to defend and rule around Mars. I'd like to try to explain this. The 7th month of 1999. This means right at the very end of the 2,000-year period. The rapture will also be completed. The great king of terror will come from the sky. This refers to Jesus coming to welcome us at his second coming in the air. Anglemoa can be understood as being divided into 3 parts. Angal stands for anti-Goliath. Therefore, Angal refers to David. Moa means more than that, meaning someone greater than King David will be resurrected. And the phrase before and after Mars means that he will rule the 1,000-year kingdom with strong defense before and after the war. This refers to the war of Ezekiel during the Tribulation. And then 1,000 years later, there will be another battle against Gog and Magog. That is what it is saying. Volume 1, number 48. The 20 years of the moon's reign have passed. For 7,000 years, another will maintain that system. When the sun receives the remaining days, my prophecy will be fulfilled. This is also written in the materials on the right. The 20 years of the moon's reign refers to these past 2,000 years during which Jesus reigned. The term 20 years refers to the era when there were two deities, Jesus and Jacob. The double thought refers to the past 2,000 years during which Jesus and Jacob have ruled in cooperation. And the 7,000s refer to the remaining 1,000 years. Another will maintain that system. So it means someone other than Jesus. They will maintain the system established by Jesus. They will inherit it. That is, Christ too. So, when the final 1,000 years have passed, Jesus will return to bring everything to a close. Also, the Son, this refers to the Holy Spirit atom, but when the Son receives the remaining days, it says that Nostradamus' prophecies will be fully fulfilled.
So